Gregory Peck played the perfect father on screen, but his real family was cursed from the start. At age 3, both his parents abandoned him. His grandmother died while he was trapped at military school. Then his son Jonathan took his own life at 30. His other son Tony battled alcoholism and nearly died from self-destruction. People said the Peck men were haunted by something dark. Gregory himself died carrying secrets about affairs and guilt that he never shared. This family's pain ran deeper than anyone knew. Gregory Peck was born on April 5, 1916, in La Jolla, California. He was the only child of Gregory Pearl Peck, a pharmacist, and Bernice May "Bunny" Ayers. At first glance, his birth might have seemed like the start of a perfect life, but the truth was painful. By the time he was just 3, his parents' marriage was falling apart. When he turned 5, they made their split official. The most heartbreaking part was that neither parent wanted to raise him. This was during a time when fewer than 8 couples out of every 1,000 divorced in the early 1920s. So the situation was rare and left young Gregory feeling alone. His father focused on work and was hardly around. His mother, burdened by her struggles and the shame of divorce, could not give him the care he needed. The sense of abandonment stayed with Gregory forever. He often felt like he belonged to no one, and this deep pain shaped the way he played strong, loving fathers on screen. But the trouble didn't stop there. His mother, Bunny, took the bold step of filing for divorce and got a restraining order against his father. That was nearly unheard of for a woman back then. Bunny said that Doc Peck was verbally cruel, accused her of cheating, and even fought with her sister's husband. What's worse, she said, he threatened young Gregory and once kept her from getting help when her appendix burst. The court believed her enough to give her that rare restraining order. When Gregory grew up, he denied these claims and said his father could never have been that cruel. But many biographers say the court records and the times they lived in show that Bunny's fear was likely real. The fear and fights Gregory saw as a boy left deep marks, filling him with a sense of fairness and compassion that later made his acting so powerful. In the middle of all this, Gregory's maternal grandmother, Kate Ayers, became his saving grace. Neither parent wanted him, but Kate took him in. Living with her in La Jolla, he found comfort in a simple routine. Every week, she would dress him nicely and take him to the movies. Those trips weren't just fun. They were his way to escape a world that had let him down. The big screen became his safe place. Those outings planted the seed of his future career. Yet, even this comfort had its sadness. Gregory always knew his grandmother's care was a poor substitute for the love he wanted from his parents. The films they saw together kept him going, but they also reminded him of what he was missing at home. The pain of those years showed up in his work, giving his characters a depth and kindness that felt real because they were born from his own hurt. When Gregory was 10, his life took another sad turn. His parents decided to send him to St. John's Military Academy in Los Angeles. Maybe they thought he needed strict discipline, or maybe they just didn't want him. One day he was with his grandmother, and the next he was in a place full of rules and uniforms. He stayed there until graduation. He did well. He even became a cadet captain, but he was mostly alone. His father, working nights, hardly visited. His mother stayed out of his life. Gregory later said he never had a real childhood. The loneliness he felt at that school stayed with him, helping him understand the pain of those who feel left out. It gave him the strength to play characters who battled their own demons and longed for connection. The saddest moment came when he said goodbye to the woman who had saved him. At age 10, before heading off to school, he kissed his grandmother goodbye, not knowing it would be for the last time. She died while he was at the academy. The news reached him in that cold, strict place, making his grief even harder to bear. He wasn't allowed to go home for her funeral. Losing her that way left a wound that never healed. He always spoke of her with deep love, saying she gave him the only real care he ever knew. That loss haunted him and brought real feeling to his later roles as a protector and father. In 1936, Gregory went to UC Berkeley planning to become a doctor. He studied English on a pre-med path and rode on the university's crew team, standing tall at 6'3". But a public speaking class changed everything. The director of the campus theater noticed his powerful voice and invited him to join a play. His first role was Starbuck in Moby Dick. Gregory said he was remarkably bad, but the experience thrilled him. He felt doors opening and realized acting was his true calling. By his final year, he had been in 5 plays. When he graduated in 1939, he left his dream of medicine behind. He said, "Berkeley woke me up and made me a human being." That lucky turn toward the stage changed not just his life, but American film history. Right after college, with just $160 and a letter of introduction from his father-in-law, he went to New York City. It was 1939, and making it as an actor during the Great Depression meant hard work. He won a scholarship to the neighborhood playhouse, where great teachers like Sanford Meisner shaped him. But a scholarship didn't pay the bills. He worked as an usher at Radio City Music Hall and as a snack seller at the 1939 World's Fair. His days were packed with classes, side jobs, and auditions. That struggle built the grit that stayed with him long after he became a star. His first 3 plays on Broadway flopped, starting with The Morning Star in 1942. The critics didn't like the plays, but they liked him. They saw his talent even when the shows failed. Many actors would have given up after 3 failures, but Gregory kept going. Producers began to notice the tall, serious young man who lit up even the dullest productions. Those tough beginnings made him stronger and set him up for success. World War II changed everything for Gregory. Big stars like Clark Gable and James Stewart went off to fight, leaving a gap in Hollywood. Gregory couldn't join the military because of a bad back injury. Studios said it happened during rowing at Berkeley, but Gregory later said the truth was stranger. Martha Graham, the famous dancer, hurt his back during a dance lesson. The injury left him unfit for service, but available for films. With Hollywood desperate for leading men, his career took off. The war had kept him from serving, but it opened the door for him to become a star. In 1943, he got the call that changed his life. He went to Hollywood to make his first film, Days of Glory, in 1944. He played Vladimir, a Russian fighter leader. The movie wasn't a big hit, and Gregory thought his own acting was poor, but his strong presence made people take notice. Studios fought to sign him. Gregory managed to secure a rare deal that let him choose his own projects. Gregory Peck's rise to fame was like something out of a Hollywood script. In 1944, at just 28 years old, he starred in only his second film, The Keys of the Kingdom. He played Father Francis Chisholm, a humble priest whose life stretched across decades and continents. What made this so remarkable was how Peck, so new to the screen, delivered a performance that felt real and full of quiet strength. It was so good that he earned his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. That almost never happened for someone so new. The film came out as World War II was nearing its end, and people found comfort in Peck's portrayal of kindness and decency. He stood at 6 feet 3 inches, with striking looks and a gentle manner, and he showed the world a new kind of leading man, strong but principled. Even though the movie ranked only 27th at the box office that year, it was a turning point. That role not only saved his career, It launched him into stardom. Peck had to act from his 20s to his 80s in that film, and he did it with a subtle power that critics described as full of inner fire. One role truly can change everything. After charming audiences with The Yearling in 1946, Peck shocked them with Duel in the Sun that same year. The film was packed with steamy scenes, violence, and troubled relationships. People started calling it lust in the dust. The censors hated it. It failed at first to pass their review. Even after edits, it got banned in places like Memphis, where it was called as bad as Sodom and Gomorrah. Some called it the foulest movie ever made, but all that scandal only made people want to see it more. The crowds packed the theaters, curious about the fuss. And for Peck, the shock factor only added to his appeal. Now people saw he could do more than play the good guy. He could surprise them too. Peck's talent kept shining through. Between 1944 and 1949, he earned 4 Oscar nominations for Best Actor. That's 4 nominations in just 5 years. Few actors have ever done that, especially so early in their careers. His roles were all different. He was a priest in The Keys of the Kingdom, a father in The Yearling, a reporter fighting anti-Semitism in Gentleman's Agreement, and a bomber commander in 12 O'Clock High. And he did it all without being tied to one studio, which was rare back then. He chose roles that tested him. By the end of the 1940s, he wasn't just a star. He was respected for his skill and his range. In 1947, Peck took on one of his boldest parts. He starred in Gentleman's Agreement, a film that tackled anti-Semitism head-on. He played a journalist who pretends to be Jewish to expose hidden bigotry in America. The film was risky. Even Jewish studio bosses worried it would cause trouble. Peck's own agent warned him it could ruin his career. But he took the part anyway. The film won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture, and forced people to face hard truths. It made Peck a symbol of courage in a time when most stars stayed silent about such issues. During the Red Scare, when Hollywood was gripped by fear of communism, Peck stayed true to his beliefs. He spoke out against the blacklist that ruined so many careers. While others caved to pressure, Peck stood firm. He didn't name names or betray his friends. And he thrived, even as the industry was torn apart by fear. Later, when he was president of the Academy, he worked to support those who had been blacklisted and pushed for fairness. Peck's fight for justice wasn't limited to America. In the 1940s, he visited Haiti and was appalled by how Hollywood had portrayed the country. When Fox Studios asked him to star in a film set during the Haitian Revolution, he insisted that the story be told with respect. He wanted Hollywood to stop spreading racist stereotypes. This was risky at a time when such views could end a career. While Peck wasn't perfect, he even suggested playing a black character himself, which would have meant using blackface. His stand against racism was rare among stars of that era. In 1945, he starred in Spellbound, a film directed by Alfred Hitchcock that would change both their careers. The movie was released on Halloween that year in New York, and it quickly became a hit across the United States. It earned $6.4 million, which was a huge amount at the time. In London, it broke ticket sales records. Peck played a man with amnesia, accused of murder, opposite Ingrid Bergman, who played a psychoanalyst. Their chemistry on screen was powerful, but what made Spellbound truly special was the dream sequence designed by Salvador Dali. Hitchcock wanted something different from the usual foggy dreams seen in films. Dali's sharp, surreal imagery created one of the most famous scenes in movie history. Peck's mix of vulnerability, confusion, and charm helped make him a star, known for depth and complexity. The film received 6 Oscar nominations and 1 for Best Original Score. It became a defining moment for both Hitchcock and Peck. But behind the scenes, something even more dramatic was happening. Peck and Bergman, both married to other people, fell in love. Peck had married Greta Kukkonen in 1942, and Bergman was married to Dr. Petter Lindström. Their affair was so secret that no one knew until Peck finally admitted it over 40 years later, in 1987, 5 years after Bergman's death. Peck described Bergman as a lovely Swedish rose and said, "I had a real love for her. I was young. She was young." During filming, he even suggested they run away together. Bergman convinced him to finish the film first. When it ended, so did their romance, but it left a deep mark on both of them. The fact that they kept this secret for decades, despite being seen as two of Hollywood's most upright stars, is still shocking. When Peck finally spoke about the affair, it stunned Hollywood. By then, he was 71 years old and had long been known as a man of integrity. His role in To Kill a Mockingbird had made him a symbol of moral strength. The idea that he had hidden a passionate affair for so long made people see him in a new light. It reminded everyone how much pressure Hollywood stars were under to keep up perfect images. His late honesty added a new layer to his legacy, showing the human struggles behind his public success. His marriage to Greta suffered under these pressures. They had 3 sons: Jonathan, born in 1944, Stephen in 1946, and Carrie Paul in 1949. But Peck's work, constant travel, and the stress of keeping up appearances made things difficult. At one point, he felt so trapped that he thought he was having a heart attack at just 34. When Greta filed for divorce in 1955, she cited mental suffering and humiliation. Still, they stayed on good terms for the sake of their children. It was a reminder of the personal cost of fame. There were also rumors about Peck and Audrey Hepburn during Roman Holiday in 1953. Their on-screen connection was so strong that people thought it must be real. But both denied any romance. Peck even brought his family to Rome during filming. He said everyone on set was in love with Audrey, but it was all admiration. In fact, he helped make her a star. Though he was supposed to get top billing, he asked for Hepburn's name to appear alongside his. He said, "If I don't, I'll look like a fool, because this girl is going to win the Oscar." And she did. It showed Peck's generosity and his eye for talent. Peck also changed how people saw Western heroes. In Yellow Sky, 1948, The Gunfighter, 1950, and The Big Country, 1958, he played men who were strong not because of guns, but because of their moral courage. These films showed heroes who wrestled with their conscience, not just outlaws. Peck's characters had depth and doubt, and they made Westerns richer and more thoughtful. His work with director Henry King brought out the same qualities. Together they made 6 films that explored inner struggles and human weakness. In 12 O'Clock High, 1949, Peck played a general who had to push his men through war while dealing with his own breaking point. In The Gunfighter and the Snows of Kilimanjaro, 1952, he showed characters haunted by their past. These roles made audiences connect with flawed heroes who were trying to find redemption. In the late 1950s, Peck started his own production company, Melville Productions. This was rare in those days. Most actors had little control over what they made. Peck changed that. His company produced The Big Country, Pork Chop Hill, 1959, and Cape Fear, 1962. These films tackled big ideas, from war's horror to psychological terror. Cape Fear, in particular, pushed boundaries with its dark themes and violence. Peck showed he wasn't afraid to take risks, and he didn't stop at movies. In 1947, he co-founded the La Jolla Playhouse with Dorothy McGuire and Mel Ferrer. He wanted a place where actors could return to live theater and sharpen their craft. They staged 10 plays a year and drew stars like Groucho Marx and Eve Arden. The Playhouse became a respected institution and still thrives today. Gregory Peck's path to playing Atticus Finch started with a phone call that changed everything. In 1961, he got the script for To Kill a Mockingbird. That night, he read Harper Lee's novel in one sitting. He couldn't put it down. By 8 a.m. the next morning, he was on the phone with the film's producers. The first words out of his mouth were, "When do I start?" That moment showed how deeply the story had touched him. Peck was already a big star, but this role would become the most important of his career. He later called it the best script I'd ever read. That phone call marked the beginning of a film that would leave a lasting mark on American cinema. Peck's passion for the story didn't stop with just saying yes. He saw something in Atticus Finch that he knew needed to be at the heart of the film. The original script focused more on the children, Scout and Jem, just like in Harper Lee's book. But Peck believed the story's real strength lay in Atticus and his fight for justice. He asked for changes. He pushed for more courtroom scenes. He wanted the film to highlight Atticus's moral courage. That decision shifted the whole focus of the movie. It turned Atticus from just a father figure into the powerful moral center we all remember today. The risk paid off. The film struck a chord with audiences and critics alike. Peck's vision helped create a character who became a symbol of integrity and empathy. When the Oscars came around, Peck's work finally got the reward it deserved. Before To Kill a Mockingbird, he had been nominated 4 times. He was up for Best Actor for The Keys of the Kingdom in 1945, The Yearling in 1947, Gentleman's Agreement in 1948, and 12 O'Clock High in 1950. But he hadn't won. In 1963, his 5th nomination ended the losing streak. His portrayal of Atticus brought him the Best Actor Oscar. Critics called it probably the finest performance of his career. The award meant even more because of the times. The early 1960s were filled with tension over civil rights. The film's message about racial injustice made Peck's win feel especially powerful. He accepted the honor with humility, later saying that the role had changed him as a person as well as an actor. 4 decades later, the legacy of both the character and the man who played him was sealed. In 2003, the American Film Institute named Atticus Finch the greatest film hero of the past 100 years. He ranked above Indiana Jones and James Bond. The timing was bittersweet. The honor came just days before Peck's death. It was a final tribute to his most cherished role. The AFI praised Atticus for his moral integrity, courage, and the way he inspired audiences. Peck had always considered Atticus the role of a lifetime. This recognition felt like the perfect final chapter to his career. But not every bold choice brought Peck success. In 1962, Cape Fear hit theaters and shocked viewers. The film told the story of Max Cady, a vengeful convict who stalks the family of the lawyer who helped put him in prison. Peck played that lawyer, Sam Bowden. The film's dark subject matter was unlike anything most audiences had seen. Even though the script removed the word rape to satisfy censors, the threat of sexual violence hung over every scene. People left the theater shaken. Some called the film an exercise in sadism. Others wondered why a respected actor like Peck would take on such a grim project. Still, the film paved the way for a new type of thriller, one that explored the terror faced by ordinary families. Getting Robert Mitchum to play Max Cady was another dramatic story. At first, Mitchum said no. He didn't want to play such a dark, twisted character. But Peck wouldn't take no for an answer. He and the director showed up at Mitchum's house with a case of bourbon. Some versions say they even brought flowers. The 3 of them drank late into the night. Finally, Mitchum gave in. He reportedly said, "Okay, I've drunk your bourbon. I'm drunk. I'll do it." That night sealed the deal. Mitchum's chilling performance became one of the most unforgettable villain roles in movie history. The film's disturbing content sparked censorship battles on both sides of the Atlantic. The British censors demanded 161 cuts. They removed about 6 minutes of footage. They even targeted lines like, "Nancy is getting to be almost as juicy as your wife." Shots of the villain's lower body were cut too. In the US, censors also forced changes. Even with the edits, the film came close to earning a rating that would have limited its audience to adults. Some critics hated the film's brutality. Others admired its nerve. The fights with censors showed just how far Peck and his team were willing to go to push the limits of what movies could show. Despite all the effort, Cape Fear struggled at the box office. It earned only $5 million in North America. It ranked 47th for the year. For a star like Peck, that was a letdown. But he had chosen art over easy money. He risked his image and his earnings to tell a bold, uncomfortable story. And while Cape Fear didn't make him richer, it added another layer to his legacy. On June 26, 1975, the world of Gregory Peck changed forever. His eldest son, Jonathan Gregory Peck, was found dead in his Santa Barbara apartment. He had taken his own life with a gunshot to the head. Jonathan had been born on July 20, 1944, and his sudden death left no note, no explanation, only heartbreak. The news shattered the Peck family and stunned Hollywood. Gregory Peck, known for his strength and grace, was crushed. A permanent emptiness settled over the family, a wound that would never heal. Jonathan had lived a life filled with promise. He was more than just the son of a famous actor. In high school, he was a track star, fast and determined. He graduated from Occidental College, one of California's best liberal arts schools. Always looking to serve, he joined the Peace Corps and volunteered in Tanzania. His time there opened his heart even more. Later, he served in the Marine Corps Reserve. As a television journalist for KCOY-TV in Santa Maria, Jonathan was respected for his honesty and hard work. But behind his achievements, something troubled him deeply. Not even his successes could silence the battles he fought within. Gregory Peck felt crushed by guilt. When Jonathan died, Gregory was in France on vacation. He later said in interviews that he wished he had been in Los Angeles instead. He believed that if he had been home, Jonathan might have reached out. Gregory said, "My regret, that I'll live with for the rest of my life, was that I was in France instead of here." The guilt never left him. He kept asking himself what he could have done, playing over the what-ifs again and again. His wife, Veronique, said the grief nearly destroyed him. Only the love of his family kept him going. From that moment, Gregory became a more thoughtful, quieter man, aware of how fragile happiness could be. For 2 years after Jonathan's death, Gregory was lost in grief. He turned down all acting offers. He couldn't sleep. Nightmares haunted him. Sometimes he sat still for hours, unable to do anything. People close to him said he may have gotten psychiatric help during that time. Nothing seemed to bring him peace. Gregory's younger son, Tony Peck, faced his own dark struggle. In the 1990s, Tony battled alcoholism. He was married to supermodel Cheryl Tiegs, but even that didn't bring him joy. Tony said he felt like he wasn't comfortable in his own skin. By age 45, he looked worn down. His drinking hurt his health, his marriage, and his bond with his father. When he and Cheryl divorced in 1995, it was a wake-up call. Tony admitted he had a disease that made him self-destructive. He said his wild behavior tested everyone who loved him. The loss of his brother haunted him, but Tony found a way back. After the divorce, he got sober. He even co-wrote a film, hoping to start fresh. Through it all, Gregory never gave up on Tony. After losing Jonathan, he was determined not to lose another child. Tony said, "My father never let me down. Not once." Gregory did more than offer kind words. He stayed close, offering help and love as Tony rebuilt his life. The pain of losing Jonathan had taught Gregory how important it was to be there at the hardest times. It was Tony's love for his father that finally helped him change. Gregory's loyalty as a father was as real as the honor he showed in his film roles. In 1976, Gregory made a surprising comeback. At 60, he starred in The Omen, playing a man who discovers his son is the Antichrist. The film opened on June 25, 1976, in 516 theaters. It earned $427 million that weekend, a record for 20th Century Fox. It went on to earn over $60 million in the U.S., which would be more than $330 million today. Gregory had taken a smart deal, $250,000 up front, plus 10% of the gross. The Omen made him famous to a whole new generation and earned 2 Oscar nominations, winning for its haunting score. Gregory Peck died on June 12, 2003, at 87. He passed peacefully in his sleep in his Los Angeles home. His wife, Veronique, whom he had been married to for 48 years, was by his side. She held his hand as he took his last breath. The news brought tributes from all over. More than 1,000 people came to his memorial. Stars like Harrison Ford, Lauren Bacall, Michael Jackson, and Harry Belafonte were there. People remembered Gregory not just as a great actor, but as a kind, decent man.